Lena, baby, Michael's love is still in you. Choose better. What have I become?
You know, sometimes life throws you a curveball that hits so hard. You wonder if you'll ever stand up straight again. There I was, 68 years old, gripping that courtroom railing in downtown Brooklyn like it was the only thing keeping me from crumbling, and the judge's words just echoed in my head like a bad dream. Guilty on all counts, life, without parole for murder, fraud, the whole mess. My name's Eleanor Hayes, folks, a simple black widow from the rough edges of the borough, who'd spent her days scrubbing floors at the local school and tending a tiny garden that barely grew anything but weeds, and now here I was, painted as some cold-hearted killer by a prosecutor with a smirk that could curdle milk, all because of evidence that screamed frame job. If you looked close enough, fingerprints on a gun I'd never touched, money in accounts I didn't know existed, video footage that somehow put me at a crime scene I'd never been near. And just as the bailiff stepped forward with those cold handcuffs, ready to drag me away to rot forever, the courtroom doors swung open with this deep, commanding voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. Wait, hold everything, Your Honor, because we've got proof this woman's innocent, and she's our mom in every way that counts. It all started rushing back then, you see. In that split second while everyone turned to stare at these three sharp-dressed men striding down the aisle, tall, confident, one with silver hair that made him look wise beyond his years, another with a surgeon's steady gaze, and the third carrying a briefcase like it held the keys to the kingdom, and my heart just stopped, because those eyes, those stubborn jaws, they were my boys, Alex, Ben, and Chris, the three scared kids I'd taken in 25 years ago. When they showed up on my doorstep in the pouring rain, no place to go, running from a nightmare that would haunt us all. Back then, I was still raw from losing my husband to cancer, staring at bills I couldn't pay, wondering how a janitor's paycheck would keep the lights on, and at 2 a.m. one stormy night, there was this pounding on my door, desperate, like someone was fighting for their life, and I peeked out, saw these three white boys huddled there, soaked, the oldest maybe 12, protecting his little brothers like a shield, with a cut on his cheek, still bleeding fresh. Against every instinct screaming, "Don't get involved, Eleanor. You've got enough troubles." I opened that door, and Lord, their eyes wide, terrified, flinching at every shadow, broke something in me. Reminded me of my own childhood dodging a mean stepdad, so I whispered, "Come on in, babies, before you freeze." And that was it. The moment kindness pulled me into a storm I never saw coming. They told me their names over hot chocolate in my cramped kitchen. Alex, the serious one with dark eyes that had seen too much. Ben, the middle kid with a gentle soul already dreaming of healing people. And little Chris, quiet and smart, clinging to his brothers like they were his whole world, and their story spilled out in bits. Parents gone in a car crash, shuffled to a cousin named Victor Lang, who seemed like salvation at first but turned out to be a monster, running some underground ringware. Kids like them were just assets, to be used, hurt, sold off for profit. "We ran tonight, Miss Eleanor," Alex said, his voice steady but his hands shaking around the mug. "Victor's gonna come looking. He always does." She says nobody believes kids like us anyway. And I could feel that old fire in my chest, the one that said no child deserves to learn the world's cruelty so young. So I promised them, "You're safe here with nobody's touching you while I'm breathing." Even though I had no clue how I'd make it true, with my bank account empty and Victor's threats already whispering in the back of my mind. Days turned to weeks, and those boys became my everything. We crowded around that tiny table, fighting over biscuits I'd stretched from nothing, laughing at Chris's wild inventions from scrap parts, Ben bandaging neighborhood strays like a mini doctor, Alex debating justice like a future lawyer, and for the first time since my husband died, the house felt alive, full of purpose. But deep down I knew Victor wasn't the type to forget. He was patient, calculating, building his empire on broken lives. And sure enough, one morning he showed up in my living room, tall and slick in his suit, flanked by goons, smiling like a snake as he said, "Mrs. Hayes, I believe you have my property." That confrontation still gives me chills. Victor's voice so calm, almost polite, as he pulled out papers proving he was their legal guardian, all forged, but looking real enough to fool anyone. And he offered me $25,000 in an envelope. "To cover your troubles, Eleanor, medical bills, that mortgage hanging over you, take it, and we'll call it even." But I saw Alex peeking from the hallway, his face full of that terrible resignation, like he'd expected betrayal all along, and something snapped in me. I tore that envelope in half, stared Victor down, and said, "Get out of my house, and don't come back. You're not touching these boys, not ever." And his smile faded just a bit, eyes going cold as he leaned in close, whispering, "You've made a powerful enemy today, Mrs. Hayes. This isn't over. I always collect what's mine." The boys rushed out after he left, Alex whispering, "You turned down all that money for us?" And I knelt down, looked them in the eyes. "Babies, there's no amount of money in the world worth handing you over to that devil." And that's when Alex cried for the first time since his parents died, wrapping his arms around me like I was his lifeline. And in that hug, we became family, not by blood or law, but by choice, the kind that binds deeper than anything else. 5 years flew by in a blur of hard work and small joys of juggling double shifts to put myself through night school for that degree I'd always dreamed of, the boys pitching in with part-time jobs, Alex acing tests for a scholarship to NYU Law, Ben volunteering at clinics talking about med school, Chris building gadgets from dumpster finds that left teachers speechless, and our little house in Brooklyn felt like a fortress against the world, full of laughter over burned toast and debates about right and wrong. But Victor hadn't forgotten. He started with phone calls, taunting. How are my boys doing, Eleanor? Growing up fast, I bet time to settle old debts. Revealing he'd been dipping into Alex's inheritance trust, $500,000 now, and if they exposed him, he'd frame me for theft, make it look like I'd been living high off stolen money. Then came the real gut punch. Kidnapped a kid, little Jamie Torres, 11 years old, brother to Lena Torres, a desperate 19-year-old trying to keep them afloat after their parents died, and Victor called, smooth as ever. Trade your 3 for my 1. Pier 12 at midnight, or the kid dies slow while his sister listens. And we knew it was a trap, but how could we let another child suffer like they had? The boys wanted to go, protect me the way I protected them, Ben saying, we're not kids anymore. Mom way choose too, but I couldn't let them. So we planned, me offering myself instead, but Victor laughed over the phone. This is about teaching lessons, Eleanor, about what happens when you interfere with my business. No safe harbors, no happy endings. The pier that night was a nightmare of rain and shadows, waves crashing like accusations, and there was Victor, holding little Jamie, flanked by his thugs. Mocking us, look at what you've become, boys, future lawyer, doctor, inventor, wasted potential, all because she filled your heads with fairy tales about love conquering all. The tension built like a storm, Alex lunging, Ben grabbing the kid, Chris throwing his backpack as a distraction, and Lena emerging from hiding with a pipe, swinging wild to free her brother, but Victor was fast, pulling a knife on Alex, snarling. Enough, kill the sister first, and I tackled the gunman, fighting tooth and nail at the edge, rain slick, heart pounding, until Ben picked up the dropped gun, aimed steady, and shot Victor in the knee. You're right, I'm a healer, not a killer, but sometimes healing means stopping the hurt. Victor went down screaming, but pulled a hidden pistol. If I can't have them, no one can. And I threw myself in front, the bullet hitting like fire, spinning me to the ground as the boys screamed. Mom, they pressed on the wound, me gasping. Run, baby Zeddy's friends will spin this. Make me the villain, take these letters, prove everything later, promise you'll live, become the men I know you can be. And through tears, they fled into the night with Lena and Jamie, while sirens wailed. Victor already weaving his lies to the paramedics. She kidnapped them, attack me tragic, really. 15 years in prison blurred into one long 8 cold cells. Endless days thinking about my boys, hoping they'd made it, stayed safe under new names, and I stayed quiet. Took the frame for financial fraud, because exposing Victor meant putting them in danger again. But when I heard he was getting out early, good behavior, I sent those letters, warning them. He's not done hunting, careful, my precious ones. And God, the floodgates opened. They reunited in a dingy diner in Philly. Alex now. Jordan Reyes, top civil rights lawyer. Ben as Dr. Lucas Kim, trauma surgeon saving lives daily. Chris as Ethan Gray, tech mogul with patents galore, and they dug deep, uncovering Victor's murder, body found in a warehouse, evidence pointing straight at me, but it was all staged, because the real killer was Harlan Voss, Victor's right-hand man who'd offed him years ago to take over, impersonating him, manipulating our lives from the shadows, boosting their careers just to make the fall hurt more. I shaped you into worthy opponents, now watch as I destroy the myth of your mother's love. The peer reunion, God, it was like stepping back in time. Rain again, shadows deeper, Harlan striding out smug. I've been your guardian angel, boys, every scholarship, every break, every witness that testified for you, it was me, building you up to tear you down. And his trap sprung, armed men everywhere, hostages hidden. Lena, a detective on the case, even a little girl like Chris once was, forcing us to choose abandon our principles or die heroes. But the boys flipped it. Tim hacking systems, broadcasting Harlan's confession live to cops, me downstairs talking sense into a young guard. Think of your sister, son, would she want this? And when SWAT stormed in, Harlan snarling, his cuffs clicked. This isn't over, you think you've won. But we had, or so we thought, until the post-arrest call. Distorted voice demanding Harlan's death by sunrise, or I'd explode with the building. Become monsters or lose her, your choice. That final siege at the old records warehouse in Queens was pure chaos. Boys infiltrating, facing guards hooked on Harlan's promises, but seeing the betrayal. Mike spotting withdrawal shakes. They haven't paid you, have they? You're disposable too. Turning them with empathy. Help us stop this. Be the dads your kids deserve. While downstairs, I faced the real mastermind, Lena Torres. Broken by her brother's death that night. You promised to save him, Eleanor, and he died whispering your names, believing in heroes that failed. Her revenge 25 years in the making, using Harlan as a puppet, rigging bombs to force us into corruption. The standoff tore at my soul, her finger on the trigger, eyes full of grief, me whispering. Sarah, wait. Lena, baby, Michael's love didn't die with him. It's still in you, begging you to choose better. And Jordan, the guard I'd convinced, stepping up. My sister's 8. Like he was, that make her lose her brother too. And something cracked. Lena whispering the code, her brother's birthday, disarming everything as she sank down, sobbing. What have I become? And upstairs, the boys freed my guards. Surrendering, Harlan wheeled away defeated. But the real victory was Lena choosing redemption, whispering through tears, maybe. Maybe it's not too late. In the end, as dawn broke, charges dropped, me walking free into my boys' arms. We built something messy, beautiful family, including Lena, Jordan, even visits to Harlan in prison, Because love doesn't quit on people. It heals, it redeems, turning pain into purpose with our youth program in Brooklyn, saving kids from the streets, proving that one act of kindness can echo forever. But here's the thing that still nags at me late nights: was Victor's empire really dismantled, or are there shadows left? People like him waiting to strike again? And Lena's choice. Was it true healing, or just exhaustion? Could she slip back if pushed? Makes you wonder about justice, doesn't it? How fragile it is in communities torn by greed and misunderstanding, like those HOA battles over land or power that destroy neighbors. What do you think? Folks, did we get real justice, or is revenge sometimes the only path? Drop your thoughts below. Share if you faced something similar, maybe a family feud or community clash that changed everything. Let's talk. Because stories like this remind us we're all one choice away from saving or breaking someone. Hit that subscribe if you want more real talk tales that hit home. And remember, love might not always win easy, but damn if it doesn't fight like hell.